Okay, these are our notes for 4B1. We are going to be learning how to graph lines. So we're going to be graphing lines in slope-intercept form. Let's go over slope-intercept form. That is the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, m is our slope, and b represents our y-intercept. Now we always start the graph with the y-intercept because that's where we begin the graph at. So if you associate the mx plus b, b being where we begin, we're going to begin on our y-intercept. And then our slope is how much we move. Remember, that's our rise over run. So m associate with move, that's how much we move point to point, and b is how much we begin on our y-intercept. So if I take the equation y equals 1/4 x minus 1, I'm going to begin at -1. That's my y-intercept. So I'm going to plot my first point on the y-intercept. So -1 is down here, and I'm going to plot my point. My slope is 1/4. That means I move up 1 and to the right 4. So that's my move. So I'm going to move up 1 and to the right 4, and I'm going to plot my next point. Now if I try to go up 1 and over 4 again, I run out of room. So I do want more points. I want to graph every single point that I can on my graph. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So if I went up 1, I'm going to go down 1. If I went to the right 4, I'm going to go to the left 4, and I should run into another point. If I try to go down 1 and to the left 4 again, I'm going to run off my page. So I can only fit 3 points on here. And then I'm going to draw my line. Let me see if I can find my line tool here. Okay, and I want to draw a line through all 3 of my points. Maybe. Okay, and there I have my line. And I think I can make it with the arrows on both sides. Arrow both. It didn't do it this time. Okay, so this is how we're going to graph our equation. We're going to start with our b, our y-intercept, and that's going to be our initial point at -1, and then we're going to move our slope. M for slope means m for move, and I'm moving up 1 and to the right 4. Number 2, I'm going to start off graphing my first point at +2 because that is my y-intercept and that is where I begin. So I'm going to plot a point at 2. Now my slope is -x and there's not a number there, so I can rewrite that as -1. And since my slope is usually rise over run, I can write it rise over run by putting it over 1. So -1, 1. Well, that -1 means I'm going down 1. And 1 on the bottom means I'm moving to the right 1. So -1, 1 is I'm moving down 1 and to the right 1. I'm going to keep repeating that pattern. Down 1 to the right 1. 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 Down 1 to the right 1 until I run out of space to mark my points. I do want to put every single point that I can on my graph, so I'm going to come back up to my y-intercept and I'm going to repeat the pattern, but I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go up 1 to the left 1, and you can follow the pattern of your points as well. I'm going to follow the pattern all the way to the end of the graph, and then I think I'll just try and draw my line in this time and put arrows on the ends. I'm going to go ahead and put arrows on the ends since it didn't work out for me there. So we've graphed the first 2 points. Again, we're using the begin, B for beginning on our y-intercept, and we're using M for slope. That's how much we're moving. And I think I'm going to try and capture that part to take with me to the next section. Oh, it didn't let me do it. I don't know if I have my copy function over here. I'm trying to, there we go, copy. Okay, so maybe next time it'll save. Okay, so now I need to move my graph down. And I wanted to copy that section, so maybe it'll let me do that. Okay, it did not allow me to paste. So we have y equals mx plus b. B is how much we begin. That is our y-intercept. And m is our slope. That is how much we are moving, so how much we move. Okay, y equals x plus 1. So my y-intercept is 1. I'm going to plot my point on my y-axis at 1. And my slope is x. We don't always see the number out in front, but there is a 1, and I can put 1x in front. And then, of course, my rise over run is going to be 1 over 1. So this time I'm going to go up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1 until I run out of points. And then I'm going to repeat the pattern on the other side. This time I'm going to go down 1 to the left 1, and again I'm going to repeat the pattern all the way through my graph. I want to be able to plot every single point that can be on the graph. And then I'm going to draw my line through my points and draw my arrowheads because it does keep going. Number 4, I'm going to start at -4. So I'm going to find -4 on my y-intercept and draw my point. Now my slope is 4 over 3, so that means I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1, 2, 3. So there's my first point. Then I'm going to repeat the slope again. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1, 2, 3. And let's see if I can repeat the pattern over here, and I can't because I would have to go down 4, and I only have 2 spaces. So I'm going to draw my line through my points. And that's my graph of 4/3 x minus 4. Number 5, I'm starting at -3, so I'm going to find -3 on my y-intercept, and my slope is -3. I can rewrite that as -3 over 1, so that means I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, and that's the only point I can put on the right side. And I'm going to repeat the pattern at the top. I'm going to start back at my y-intercept, and I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and to the left 1. 1, 2, 3, and to the left 1. 1, 2, 3, and to the left 1. And I've put in all of the points that I can fit on this graph, and I'm going to draw my line through my points. And that is y equals -3x minus 3. Number 6, y equals 4. This is a special case because I don't have a slope. If I don't have a slope, well, if we recall Slope Dude, he had a puff puff positive, he had a nice negative, and he said this was 0 fun, and then he fell off the cliff and said undefined. Well, this is the 0 fun. He's got no slope, so it's 0. So my y-intercept is 4, so here's my point at 4. However, I have no slope, so that just moves along 4 at 0 fun. So I'm going to go ahead and mark all of my points. Along the y is 4, and you can see it starts to form that horizontal line, that 0 fun. We're having to walk back, and I'm going to draw a line through my points. So this is a special case. This is a horizontal line, and when you don't see the slope, it's the 0 fun. It's a horizontal line. So all of my y's are 4. So I went along all of my graph and put 4. Moving down. Okay, Number 7 starts at -1, so I'm going to put my intercept at -1 on my y-axis. My slope is 3/5. That means I move up 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I mark my next point. That's the next point on my line. I can't go up any further because I could go up 3, but I don't have 5 to run to the right. So I'm going to come back to my y-intercept and I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right, to the left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark my point. It should be in line with the other two. And it is. And then I draw my line through my points. Those were the only 3 points I could draw on the graph. Ooh, another special case. X equals 5. So I don't have a y-intercept. It doesn't say y equals, but it says x equals. So here's where x equals 5. And this is where x equals 5. And this is where x equals 5, and so on. So I'm going to mark all my points on x equals 5, and you can see that this is undefined. This is where our slope dude would be falling off the cliff. And this is going to be a vertical line. So when x equals 5, you're going to have a vertical line. This is another special case, just like the horizontal line. So this is undefined when I have x equals to 5. Number 9, another special case. This says y equals 3. Well, y is where we begin on our graph, so I'm going to begin at 3. And then all of my y's are 3. So you can see the difference between y equals and x equals. This one is going to be a horizontal line. I'm going to mark all my points. All my y's are 3, and then I'm going to draw a line through my points. Number 10, y equals 3x minus 2. I'm going to start my graph at -2, so I'm going to start down here. 3x, again, I can write that as a fraction, 3 over 1. That means I'm going to be moving up 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. I'm going to be moving up again, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. And I can't move up 3 any further. So I'm going to come back to my y-intercept, and I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, and to the left 1. And I can get one additional point. Then I'm going to draw my line through my points. And there's my graph. Okay, the last two, more practicing graphing these equations. I'm going to start up at 3. So I'm going to start up at 3 and mark my point on my y-intercept at 3, and it says my slope is 4. Well, if I go up 1, 2, 3, I run off my grid and I do not have enough points to put on my graph. So 4, again, I can rewrite it 4 over 1. I did not have enough to go up and to the right, so I'm going to have to do the opposite. I'm going to have to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the left 1. I think I have enough for one more. So I'm going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the left 1. And I'm going to draw my line through my points. And there's my graph. So in this one, I really couldn't go up 4 and to the right 1. I just didn't have enough space on my graph. So I can do the opposite. So I went down 4 and to the left 1. It still remains a positive slope because of the integers. I'm going down 4, that's a -4. And I'm going to the left 1, that's a -1. And of course, double negatives make a positive. So that's why I can go backwards or go down and to the left and do the opposite. Number 12, we're starting up at 5. So I'm going to mark my point at 5, and it says my slope is 6/5. So this is going to be similar to number 11. I cannot move up 6 points. I'm running out of graph. So I can do the opposite. I'm supposed to go up 6 and to the right 5. So I can do the opposite, which means I can go down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to the left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and mark my point. I think those are the only 2 points I'm going to be able to mark on my graph. And I'm going to draw my line through my points. And this is how we graph linear equations in slope-intercept form. that form is y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept, and it's where we begin our graph on our y-intercept is where we're going to begin, and our slope is m, and slope is how much we're going to move. Happy graphing!